Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shane. I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 265 of The Funnel, how to deal with underperforming reps. Before we begin, I want to remind you to head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel. If you subscribe to The Funnel, you will receive a free coaching call. All you have to do is fill out the form, pick a date and time, and get that coaching call on the schedule. Today's agenda: be honest with yourself. Focus on what to do. Create a plan. Make a decision. Be honest with yourself. So the reason I chose sort of that to start with, I think we have to be realists when we're dealing with underperforming sales reps. And I know in podcasts in the past I've addressed this, but you have to ask yourself, are they too far gone? Is this somebody worth saving? Okay, and I'll add to this. How much have you or the company contributed to their demise? So what do I mean by that? Well, that's pretty simple. Did you hire the right person for the job? Did they receive the proper onboarding? Do they know how to do the things they need to do to be successful? Do they know what the expectations are from you and the company? And I've said this one before. I used to have a boss that would say, keep doing what you're doing. And I would ask the question, well, if there's something I need to be doing better, if there's some development I need, if there's some help. This is when I was a manager. Nope, just keep doing what you're doing, until he decided whatever it is that I was doing that he didn't like, that I needed to stop doing. So it was a very difficult relationship because I never really knew at the time what he wanted or what he expected, because he didn't really share that with me. And I know that feeling, right? So you're kind of taking a stab in the dark. You're going with your instincts and what you've learned, and some of the things I had to bang my head against the wall. But ultimately I found success. But that's not the way everybody goes. There are folks that without that kind of guidance and help and direction, they don't do well. So ask yourself that question. Did you do enough to help them? Can they make it? Can they make it through this and become the kind of sales rep that you think they can become or they should become for you and your company? Read the room. Look around the room. Is this somebody that makes a contribution to the team? I'm not talking about the guy that walks around or the gal that walks around with a cup of coffee, chit-chatting with everybody for the first hour of the day. They're like the mayor of the bullpen. Everybody has, that sort of conversation and reply back, and then they focus on their work. Deep down inside, you're thinking, does this person want to work or does this person want to play? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking, do they provide value to your team? Do they contribute in meetings? Do they help other people? Are they just struggling in a certain area in sales that you can fix? And if there's somebody that you want to keep around because they add value to the team and the culture, et cetera, then it might be worth it. And my final point on being honest with yourself is, don't be a superhero. I've seen that both in sales and in management, where somebody thinks, I'm going to get this opportunity no matter what. Even if they're throwing out signals that they don't want it or it's a right fit, they want to be the superhero and bring in the deal. It's the same with salespeople. Managers want to be the superhero and save the day. They want to save the day on the opportunities with the sales rep. I went out there and I closed it for them. And they want to be a superhero in keeping them around. I was in a weird culture, kind of like that, where maybe someone would put in their notice and ownership would want to be the superhero. I saved them. I kept them from leaving. And in some cases that worked. But like 60 days later, they left for another job. So, the superhero thing is not really where you want to spend your time. The superhero thing is not something you want to do for somebody that's too far gone. You're not proving anything to anybody by trying to keep around somebody that doesn't fit or doesn't belong in your organization. Focus on what to do. Okay, so this one's interesting because this is all about the psychology of dealing with people and the different types of people. And I will say that everybody's different. So you have to figure out the personality and how they learn and how they accept criticism. So when I say focus on what to do, it's not about what you're doing wrong. It's about what I want you to do to make it right. So some people might say, well, you're parsing words here. And maybe to some of you I am. But I think what I mean here is, instead of saying to somebody, you aren't doing it right, or, geez, I really shouldn't have done that. They probably feel like you could have done it this way. I think your best bet in dealing with underperforming reps is to show them the way on what to do and how to do it. So in other words, I would like to see it done this way. The best way to do this, or next time you find yourself in that situation, I might try this on for size. You see the difference between you're wrong, you're doing everything wrong, you're a loser, to, hey, you might want to try adjusting your approach and doing it this way. So you're guiding and coaching and helping. You're not just putting them down. And that's hard for some of us, because the short road is, geez, I wouldn't have done that. This is what you need to do. And I'm as guilty of that as anybody. Sometimes I do that and I feel bad about it afterwards. I think, and that's in all parts of my life, I think the best way to do this is really the guidance. Provide that guide for them. Try this on for size is a better approach with somebody who's struggling. Absolutely provide sales training. Okay, so maybe they're struggling with closing. One of the things you can do is put them back through maybe some of the training that you've provided. Maybe it's online, or it's available in one-on-one sessions with somebody. You have to do that. I don't know how you're set up, but or yourself. But maybe it's just that one single area they need help with. So provide them the support and help they need in the sales training, and then do some role plays with them. Okay, focus on that area of concern. If it's, well, your pipeline's not big enough, but once something gets in the pipeline and you start working with it, your close rate's pretty high, and you do it in a timely manner. Well, geez, all we have to do is figure out how to fill the pipeline. So focus on that area of concern. Do the training. Maybe work through some role plays in your coaching sessions if you haven't already done that, and get them to the place where they need to be. Now, this is somebody who's struggling. Now, I would focus on the role plays, the sales training, and the focusing on area of concern in this manner, the coaching and the conversation, for somebody that is dipping a little bit, that's not in the tank. Okay? Always focus on the what to do and how to do it for everybody. I think that's a good rule of thumb. But the part where we're sales training and role playing and focusing on that, they're dipping. They're not really tanking. Okay? Because I think you have to handle the tanking a little different. So the dipping helps you get ahead of it. Okay, I can see this person dipping. Where are they struggling? Well, geez, the pipeline's not big enough. I need to focus on that. Or their pipeline's really strong and they're bringing people through the process, but for some reason they're not closing. Let me focus on that. Or they're getting stalled in the qualifying. Let me focus on that. So before it becomes a situation where they're in the tank, so you're kind of getting them to perform at a higher level. Now, if somebody's in the tank, you need to handle that a little bit differently if they're really at the bottom, okay? And I would say for them, you really need to create a plan. What's the plan here? Okay, and I call it a work improvement plan, right? So what is the problem? Identify the problem. Well, you're 40% of quota and it's September. Well, shame on you for letting it get that far, but that happens, okay? So now I'm going to put a schedule together for you, and this is the schedule we're going to abide by. I've seen the problems. We've tried to work through it. It hasn't gotten any better. So we're going to put you on a schedule, and we're going to schedule regular meetings and benchmarks just focusing on this, and we're going to explain the outcomes. If you come through this, this is what happens. If you don't, well, this is what happens. And we focus on that work improvement. Some of it's just laziness. The guy, I think I might have told this story before, sit in my office. A manager put him on a plan, and he asked to meet with me. And I said, well, I have some time at the end of the day. Let's meet. And about 15 minutes into the conversation, he looked at his watch and said, listen, I have a Frisbee golf game in about a half an hour, so I need to go. Well, what did that tell me? And I was like, sure, have fun. I'm not going to waste my time with you. And I picked up the phone, called the manager, and said, you probably should end this. This is somebody that doesn't care, doesn't want to get any better, just wants to drag it out as long as they can because they're collecting a paycheck. I want somebody who comes in and says, hey, I need to fix this. I need to know what I need to do. How can I help you help me get better? Let's roll up our sleeves. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to come through it. Okay, that's the kind of person I want in that situation. So that plan helps you by documenting, first of all, what's going to happen. You put it in writing. These are the and look, if someone's dipping a little bit, it's okay to put a plan in for them. Say, hey, I see you're dipping a little bit. Pipeline's a little short. You just put in writing, here's what we're going to do. And here's how I'm going to help you. I'm going to put some training together. We're going to meet and do some role playing beyond our normal coaching. And this is how we're going to get that back to where we need it to be. And then they sign off on it. You sign off on it. And you provide a form for feedback there. The same goes for this. The same goes for someone who's really at the bottom, right? So create that plan and put a little bit more detail in it. Here's the schedule. Here's the regular meetings. Here's the benchmarks you absolutely have to achieve by this time frame. And if you don't achieve them, here are the consequences for those actions. Sign it and sign it. Pretty much the consequences for those actions are you don't have a job. And they know that. Okay? Make a decision. So I think there's inflection points here. If you're working with somebody who's dipping a little bit and they're showing improvement and they're working hard, that's kind of an easy path, right? You're taking them up a little bit in terms of their numbers. Things are getting better. You can see the outcome. Then you just keep going. That really doesn't require your decision. If they're not improving, they're getting worse, or they show no interest, then you have to decide, do I continue to go or no go here, right? Do I continue on with this? Is it worth the effort? Or do I put them on a work improvement plan and see what happens next? Because that's the next step for them. Or if someone's on a work improvement plan, do I do what an old consultant used to say to us, a career adjustment? Do I let them go? It's like the guy that told me he had a Frisbee football game. Yeah, well, you know what? That's a no-go. That's not worth the effort. It's time for a career adjustment. They don't want to be here. Or they want to be here under terms that aren't acceptable to us. Like not having that conversation with me. Or deciding that this wasn't as important as Frisbee football. Here you are underperforming. Or Frisbee golf, whatever it was. Underperforming in your territory. That is, you're really in the tank. And this is how you deal with it. And in some cases, it's just about doing the right thing. So what do I mean by doing the right thing? Most people know if they're not a real fit, if you've done the whole soul-searching thing, you were honest with yourself, we've done everything we can. We have a solid onboarding program. We know how to hire the right people. We have success across the board. Everything's great in terms of that. This person is just not right for us. It's not a good fit. We made a mistake. We move on. I get it. Okay? Some of these people are suffering. They're suffering because they're underperforming. Their peers know it. They know it. Their family knows it. They're just having a difficult time. And they're not happy. And they're never going to be happy. And maybe this type of job, maybe sales, or maybe the type of job your company is offering is not for them. And the best thing you can do is the right thing. And that best thing is let them go. In the end, you're doing what's right for them. You're doing what's right for the company. You're doing what's right for the team. And you're doing what's right for you as a manager. When you do that. When you drag it out and you let people hang on, you're affecting everybody in a negative way. The person that has to live that miserable life trying to sell for your company, the company itself, because it's not getting the best that it could possibly get from somebody, the team, because the team sees what you're doing and doesn't really understand it, and yourself. Now, there are those that would say, well, oatmeal's better than no meal. And I've said that a number of times with regards to certain things, but not in this case. You should be doing your work to prepare for loss, like, building a pipeline of potential candidates. But even if you haven't done that, you should do the right thing. Let them go, move on. That's my advice. You can subscribe to The Funnel by heading on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel. Of course, you can find us on Facebook. My Twitter's @ShayJohnR and LinkedIn. You can always find me there. Email me, jshade@alignment-group.com, or head on over to the website. We have a lot of really good stuff to download. We're getting ready to go through a brand new refresh on the website, so I'm doing a bunch of new things and different things, and that's coming along swimmingly. So keep on the lookout for that. Of course, if there's any questions I can answer you, don't hesitate to reach out to me at my email. I do respond. Thanks, and as always, keep building the funnel.